So, you just started using LinkedIn Premium. Now what? Well, on your premium company page, you noticed around 7.5 times more page engagement and 5 times more page views. Well done. And now, new clients are messaging you. All because you're using LinkedIn Premium, which helps you get the business growth you want. Think big, small business. Think big. Start your free trial at linkedin.com/premium small business. That's linkedin.com/premium small business.
Hey business owners, we know you know the importance of maximizing every dollar. With the Delta SkyMiles Reserve Business American Express card, you can make your expenses work just as hard as you. From afternoon coffee runs to stocking office supplies and even team dinners, you can earn miles on all your business expenses. Plus, you can earn 110,000 bonus miles for a limited time through July 16th. The Delta SkyMiles Reserve Business Card. If you travel, you know. Minimum spending requirements and terms apply. Offer ends 7/16/25.
And now, listen to this on the Toddcast podcast.
You'll remember the band Mobile from being on good rock radio stations in the mid-2000s. They formed in 2006 from Montreal. Their debut, Tomorrow Starts Today, had 4 radio singles. They won a Juno Award for New Group of the Year in 2007. They were nominated for Album of the Year, but ultimately lost to Nelly Furtado's Loose album. They broke up in 2011, reunited roughly 10 years later. You've heard their music in NFL and FIFA video games. They had their song Bon Cop, Bad Cop in an episode of One Tree Hill as well. And great to have their singer Mat Joly on the podcast, talking about all sorts of things. The music industry was a big part, getting the band back together, touring with Chris Cornell back in 2008 for some Canadian dates. He talked about Axl Rose singing for the AC/DC tour. He shared the shows that he was binge watching at the time, growing up to the music of Duran Duran, The Police, The Cure, how he was a Star Wars nut as a kid. He shared a near-death drowning story, talked generational differences, the Canucks, the Habs, Connor Bedard, and Matt recommended some rock autobiographies for you to read. Listen to this.
You know, I read Mark Lanigan. I'm a huge Mark Lanigan fan. He passed away last year, I think, and I'm a huge fan of his. Yeah. And is it Devil in a Coma? Because I read 2 of his books. It's so good. It's insane what he went through, that guy. And he's so underrated, right? Lanigan was like Kurt Cobain's best friend and Lane Staley's best friend and confident. And then he went with Queens and then he did the Goddard Twins with Greg Dooley, who was my ultimate, idol, as far as music goes. And his book is so good, man. And he's such a good writer. He's like a Leonard Cohen of his time, with his tone and whatever. Yeah. And he's been through so much. I read his book, and I read Matt Sorum's book too.
It's really on my list. I haven't got it yet, but I heard it's amazing.
It's great. It's him too. I was reading those stories, like, man, if you think you're rock and roll, no, man,
insane.
It's insane. He was a drug smuggler, and then his first gig when they played Rock in Rio in '91, right? It was his first gig with the band, so he rehearsed without Axl because Axl was never there during rehearsals. Yeah, and they went to Brazil, and they landed in Brazil, and he was really into the cocaine and shit. And he's like, I landed in Brazil, and then those guards are all there with fucking machine guns, and then the police and this and that. And he's like, do you need anything? He's like, yeah, like an ounce of cocaine or some crazy shit. He's like, yeah, sure. So he went to his hotel room. They brought him the cocaine, and he was on coke for 3 days straight with no sleep. And he went to play the show, right? And I'm like, I read his book. I'm anxious I'm like, how can you fucking? And then he shows up in Rock in Rio. There's like 100,000 people, and he never played a gig with the band with Axl. And he's like, dude, I haven't slept for 3 days and then somebody calls my hotel room. You gotta go. He's like, oh my god, 3 days passed and I haven't slept, and I've been on coke bench for 3. I'm like, are you crazy? And then he plays. And then I went and watched the gig again, and I'm like, you can tell the guy. He's like, he's a powerhouse. I'm like, dude, those guys are like. It's insane. It's so fun to read, man. I was reading this. I was like, oh my god, this is great.
Totally, man. They're like legendary, right? And they, if you haven't read the Foo Fighter, Dave
I did.
book.
Well, no, I didn't read the Storyteller, Dave Grohl, but I read another book on the Foo Fighters, which was written by what's
cover,
his name?
Got a red thing on it as well.
What's his name? The writer. He's a famous writer, especially the hard rock stuff. What's his name? Actual mention him
like
on
literally on my.
Oh, check this out! It's good. What's his name?
Beside my bed on the bedside table.
What's his name? Actual, I think mentioned him in "Get in the Ring," right when he blasts all those writers on that song.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mick Wall.
That's right. Yeah.
Mick Wall. He wrote. I wrote the book. He wrote on Foo Fighters. It's pretty good.
It's
great band, man. Too
very good. But of course, Dave's is better, right? And the fact that Dave like read the whole book as well, like if you wanted an audiobook style, like
totally. Yeah, I'm gonna get into that too. It's just like I was on vacation, Florida and then California. Well, in Florida, I read the Matt Sorum in like 2 days. My wife was like, "Do you have dinner?" I'm like, "I'm busy, reading."
That's about the only thing that I can really sit down and read for hours is like rock autobiography. Like if you never read the Keith Richards' Life.
I did, of course. Yeah, I got it.
That's probably my favorite.
Oh, so good. One of my favorite too is Duff McKagan. His book it's So Easy in Other Lives. It's called.
Oh, okay.
That's dude. His story is insane.
Yeah.
Duff was his story too when he was a kid. He used to steal cars. He was like 12 years old, and he was part of all those like punk bands, in Seattle. Then he moved to LA and started with Guns. And then, he was like a crazy drinker, like insane. He used to drink a gallon of vodka a day. Think on it. You remember him back in the day. He was wearing gloves because his hands were cracking. He was losing his hair. He said he didn't have a glass of water for 5 years. He was only drinking vodka, a gallon. And then his pancreas exploded. That's how, and then he went to his story is insane. Then, his rehab and how he got clean. It's impressive. If you think you can get clean, you read that book and you're like, dude, if Duff can do it, you can. I'm telling you.
Listen to This on the Toddcast podcast is brought to you by Tedco RV Supplies in Langley, an ICBC approved repair shop. Visit them on Facebook and Twitter at Tedco RV Supplies.
Can you actually change your personality if you want to? How does peer pressure work, and why is it so powerful? Should you ever really trust your gut when you make a big decision? These are just a few of the topics we've recently covered on my podcast, Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and each episode of Something You Should Know covers multiple topics that are likely relevant to you. You'll discover things you can use in your life today, right now, like how to have a great conversation, how to be more courageous, the anatomy of the perfect apology, and much, much more. To date, there are over 1,000 episodes of Something You Should Know, and we've gotten over 4,000 mostly 5-star reviews. I invite you to check out Something You Should Know. Look for the bright yellow light bulb on the blue background. Something You Should Know, wherever you listen to podcasts.
American history is full of infamous tales that continue to captivate audiences decades or even hundreds of years after they happened. On the Infamous America podcast, you'll hear the true stories of the Salem witch trials and the escape attempts from Alcatraz, of bank robbers like John Dillinger and Pretty Boy Floyd, of killers like Lizzie Borden and Charles Starkweather, of mysteries like the Black Dahlia and D.B. Cooper, and of events that inspired movies like Goodfellas, Killers of the Flower Moon, Zodiac, 8 Men Out, and many more. I'm Chris Wimmer. Join me as we crisscross the country from the Miami drug wars and Dixie Mafia in the South, to mobsters in Chicago and New York, to arsonists, kidnappers, and killers in California, to unsolved mysteries in the heartland and in remote corners of Alaska. Every episode features narrative writing and cinematic music, and there are hundreds of episodes available to binge. Find Infamous America wherever you get your podcasts.
You might think you know fairy tales, and you might think that they are cute and sweet and boring. But the real Grimm fairy tales were not cute at all. They were very dark, and they were often very grim. On Grim, Grimmer, Grimmest, we tell a Grimm fairy tale to a bunch of kids. perfect for car rides or screen-free entertainment. Grim, Grimmer, Grimmest activates kids' imaginations and instigates fun conversations. Because fairy tales speak to all of us at a very deep, primal level, and they raise interesting topics and questions that are worth chewing over together as a family. Every episode is rated Grim, Grimmer, or Grimmest, so you, your kids, your whole family can choose what is the right level of grim for you. Though, if you're listening with Grandma, she's just gonna go for Grimmest. Trust me on this one. Tune in to Grim, Grimmer, Grimmest, and our new season, available now.